This is the video for Unit 6, Day 11. Today we are multiplying decimals. Yesterday we were adding decimals, and today we are multiplying them. So let's take a look at our example here. But first, our dedication. Today's video is dedicated to Melvin in 6C. What up, Melvin? Okay. So it says, first, estimate your answer by rounding the numbers to the nearest one and then multiplying. So let's look at our first number here, 36.3. So 36 and 3/10. Is this number going to round up or is it going to round down? It rounds down because the number in the tens place, which is 3, is less than 5, so it's closer to 36. So that rounds down to 36. And then our second number, 4.8, 4 and 8/10, is that going to round up or is that going to round down? That rounds up because it's closer to 5, because the number in the tens place, which is 8, is greater than 5. So we have 36 times 5 are now the two numbers we're multiplying after we rounded our two numbers to get rid of the decimal. And let's do this multiplication here using the standard algorithm. 5 times 6 is 30, so we'll put a 0 here, and we'll carry the 3 on top. And then 5 times 3 is 15. And then we have the 3 up top, so we add that to our 15 to get 18, and we'll put 18 here. So 180 is our estimation for multiplying these two numbers. So when we calculate the exact number, we know we should get a number that's kind of near 180. So now let's calculate the exact answer. Let's look at the steps here. Step 1 at the top, it says to stack the numbers and line them up to the right. This is a little bit different than what we did with adding decimals, because when you were adding and subtracting decimals, you lined the numbers up at the decimal place. Here, you're going to push everything to the right. So we'll have 36.3 times 4.8. So I want to make sure that everything is lined up on this right side here. There shouldn't be any blank spaces. Okay, so that's step number 1. Step number 2 says multiply normally. So we're going to multiply using the standard algorithm the same way we did up top here. Starting with the 8 here, 8 times 3 is 24. So we'll put a 4 here, carry the 2 over here. 8 times 6 is 48, and then we'll add the 2 that we carried over, so 48 plus 2 is 50. So we'll put a 0 here, carry the 5 over from that 50. And then 8 times 3, again, is 24, plus the 5 we carried over, 24 plus 5 is 29. Okay. Now we move on to the next number, which is the 4. Remember, the first thing that we have to do is add a 0. And then 4 times 3 is 12. So 2 here, carry a 1. I'm going to cross this 2 out so I don't get confused. Carry a 1 over. Then 4 times 6 is 24 plus the 1 we carried over. 24 plus 1 is 25. We'll put a 5 here, and we'll carry a 2 over. I'll cross this 5 out from before so you don't get confused. Carry a 2 over. 4 times 3 is 12 plus the 2 we carried over. So 12 plus 2 is 14. Now we can add these two numbers up. 0 plus 4 is 4. 2 plus 0 is 2. 5 plus 9 is 14, carry the 1. 4 plus 2 is 6, plus the 1, which is 7. And then we have the 1 here. So now we have 17424. Now don't forget, we had these 2 decimals here. So that was step 2. That's all done. Now step 3 is when it's a little bit tricky. It says to count the number of decimal places for both numbers and put your decimal in your final answer. Let's do that right now. We had 36.3 with the decimal right here and 1 number after the decimal. So that's 1 place, right? 4.8 with and also 1 number after the decimal. So that's 2 places altogether, right? 1, 2. We're going to take those 2 decimal places and then put them back in our final answer here. 1, 2. So our decimal is going to go right here. 174.24, or 174 and 24 hundredths. That's our final answer. We can double check. Our estimation from before was that the answer would be around 180. 174.24, we know that's kind of close, right? If I had my decimal here instead, and it was 1,742.4, I know that can't be correct because it's not even close to 180. Or if I went too far with my decimal and made it 17.424, I know that's also not close because that's not close to 180. So count the number of decimal places that you have all together with both numbers. 1 here, and then do that combined. 1, 2. All right. Now I want you to try on your own with number 1. Before you start, anytime you see 2 numbers in parentheses like this, it means you're multiplying those 2 numbers. So this is the same thing as 9.9 times 3. So try that on your own first. Go ahead and pause the video. And then once you finish number 1, you can continue the video to check your answer. So pause the video and try on your own. Okay, now you've tried number 1 on your own and you are checking your answer. Let's go through this right now. First, we're going to estimate our answer by rounding to the nearest 1. 9.9 rounds up to 10 because the number in the tens place, 9, is greater than 5. It rounds up. 10 times, and then we already have a whole number here, so we don't have to round. 10 times 3 and 0, right, 3. 30 is our estimate. We know our final answer should be somewhere close to 30. Now let's calculate the exact answer. Step 1, stack the numbers and line them up to the right. So 9.9 times 3, just like that. Step 2, multiply normally. 3 times 9 is 27. Carry the 2 over. 3 times 9 again is also 27 plus the 2 we carried over, which is 29. Now we check where our decimals are. Step 3, to count the number of decimal places. So in 9.9, right, we have 1 number after the decimal. 3, we don't have to move the decimal at all because we don't have one. It's, already onto the right here. So since we only have 1 number to move the decimal over in 9.9, that means when we go back to our final answer, we only have to go in 1 number and then put in the decimal. Now, let's double check. 29.7, is that close to 30? Yes, it is. That's our final answer. Okay, once you've checked your work, here are your instructions. You are first going to put your computer and your headphones away once you get these 2 problems, and then you are going to finish page 4 back at your seat. And then if you finish page 4 and if you have time, you can take on the challenge on page 5.